Over the years I've experimented, failed and learned what it truly takes to grow tomatoes that flourish. Plants that are robust, productive and laden with ripe, juicy fruit. In this guide I'll share my 5 tried and true secrets for making tomatoes thrive. These are the techniques I've honed to manage pests, optimize fertilization and create the perfect growing environment. Follow these steps, and you'll be on your way to a bountiful harvest that you can be proud of. Let's dig in. Before we even get to planting, I make sure I'm choosing the right tomato variety for my growing conditions. Every region is different, and not all tomatoes thrive everywhere. For instance, in a humid climate, I lean toward disease-resistant hybrid varieties like Celebrity or Big Beef. In cooler conditions, Early Girl or Sun Gold cherry tomatoes are my go-to choices because they mature quickly. I also consider whether I need determinate or indeterminate varieties. Determinate tomatoes are compact, produce fruit all at once, and are great for containers. Indeterminate types grow taller, require staking, and produce fruit all season long, which is perfect for maximizing yields. Choosing varieties suited to my environment sets me up for success before the seeds even hit the soil. The foundation of any healthy tomato plant is nutrient-rich soil. I found that tomatoes are heavy feeders, and without the right balance of nutrients, they'll struggle to produce fruit. Before planting, I test my soil. This helps me understand its pH and nutrient levels so I can make the necessary amendments. Tomatoes thrive in slightly acidic soil with a pH between 6.0 and 6.8. To enrich the soil, I mix in well-rotted compost, aged manure and a handful of bone meal for phosphorus, which supports strong roots and flowering. As the plants grow, I follow a strict fertilization schedule. Early on, I use a balanced fertilizer such as a 10-10-10 formula to promote healthy vegetative growth. Once the plants start flowering, I switch to a low-nitrogen, high-potassium fertilizer. Excess nitrogen encourages leafy growth at the expense of fruit production, so I use a fertilizer like 5-10-10 to focus energy on developing fruit. For a natural boost, I also side-dress the plants with compost every few weeks. This slow-release method ensures a steady supply of nutrients. Additionally, I've found that adding a pinch of Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, to the soil, helps prevent blossom end rot, a common issue caused by calcium or magnesium deficiencies. Overwatering can be just as damaging as underwatering, and tomatoes are especially picky about their moisture levels. My golden rule is to water deeply but infrequently to encourage deep root growth. Shallow, frequent watering leads to weak plants with roots that don't penetrate the soil deeply enough to access nutrients. I water my tomato plants early in the morning, ensuring the soil gets about 1 to 2 inches of water per week, depending on rainfall. A drip irrigation system has been a game changer for me because it delivers water directly to the roots while keeping the foliage dry. Wet leaves can invite fungal diseases like blight and powdery mildew, so I avoid overhead watering at all costs. Mulching is another secret weapon in my watering strategy. I spread a thick layer of straw, shredded leaves or wood chips around the base of the plants to retain soil moisture and regulate temperature. Mulching also suppresses weeds which compete with tomatoes for nutrients. One of the biggest challenges with growing tomatoes is dealing with pests and diseases. Early on, I decided that prevention is better than cure. To keep my tomato plants healthy, I employ several proactive strategies. First, I practice crop rotation. Planting tomatoes in the same spot year after year can lead to a buildup of soil-borne diseases like verticillium and fusarium wilt. I rotate tomatoes with non-nightshade crops like beans, lettuce, or carrots to break the disease cycle. Companion planting has also been invaluable. I plant marigolds, basil, and garlic around my tomatoes to repel common pests like aphids, whiteflies, and nematodes. Nasturtiums are another favorite. They attract aphids, keeping them away from my tomatoes. When it comes to diseases, I inspect my plants regularly for early signs of trouble. Yellowing leaves, spots, or wilting can indicate problems like blight or leaf spot. To combat fungal diseases, I use an organic fungicide like copper spray as a preventive measure. I also make sure to prune the lower leaves to improve air circulation and keep the plants less susceptible to fungal infections. For pest outbreaks, I rely on neem oil and insecticidal soap, which are effective yet gentle on beneficial insects like bees. If I spot hornworms, a notorious tomato pest, I pick them off by hand. These small interventions prevent problems from escalating. Pruning is a technique that many gardeners overlook, but it has been one of my most effective secrets for increasing tomato yields. By carefully managing the plant's growth, I ensure it directs its energy toward fruit production rather than excessive foliage. The first thing I do is remove any suckers, the small shoots that grow between the main stem and branches. While these won't harm the plant if left alone, they do compete for energy and can lead to a crowded, tangled plant. By pruning them early, I maintain a single or double main stem, which makes it easier to support the plant and improves air circulation. I also prune any leaves that are touching the ground to reduce the risk of disease. As the season progresses, I continue to trim lower leaves and excess growth to keep the plant tidy and productive. Staking or caging my tomato plants is equally important. Indeterminate varieties in particular need strong support to hold their heavy fruit. I use sturdy stakes and tie the main stem loosely with soft plant ties as it grows. For determinate varieties, tomato cages work perfectly. Growing flourishing tomatoes isn't just about planting and hoping for the best. It's about taking the time to understand the plant's needs and addressing them with precision. From choosing the right variety to managing pests, every small step adds up to a thriving tomato plant that rewards you with delicious fruit. If you're ready to see your tomato garden flourish like never before, try these 5 secrets for yourself. I guarantee you'll notice the difference in the health and productivity of your plants. Don't forget to subscribe to Hydro Haven for more gardening tips and tricks, and share this guide with your fellow gardeners. Happy growing!